Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football. Usually I would follow up by saying episode number whatever, but it's no episode today. It's a TSF Live special as we preview the weekend. We talk about the European football in regards to Celtic and Rangers and everything else in between, as we never got into the studio today. As you can see, we're back on the old-fashioned StreamYard. It feels like the pandemic all over again, lads. Back on, talking to ourselves through cameras. Brilliant, brilliant. Adam, I'm going to start with you, mate. Pleasure to have you on. You must be riding high at the moment. A good result for Hearts at the weekend. Looking forward to carrying the momentum into, what's this, match day 10 of the Premiership.
Yeah, the only unbeaten team in the league's certainly a bizarre shout. I wonder what odds you'd got for that. But yeah, last match day was fantastic, mate. Good load of away day limbs. And it was nice to see Div in the crowd, obviously giving it big licks to eventually, go on and silence Rangers late on. So no, it was good.
We've got Buick in the chat, by the way. Buick was going to join us today, but he decided, you know what, people have seen me enough. But he's wanting a full segment on the Falkirk Q&A, which I haven't had the chance to sit down and watch, but we might touch on that a little bit later on. But nice to see you in the chat there, Mr. Buick. And I'm also joined by Callum Craig, member of the Celtic the Thunder podcast, and of course TSF. Callum, son, we've had a good week. We had a win in Europe on Tuesday afternoon, so just like Adam, it's nice to see you with a smile on your face, mate. How you doing?
Not too bad. I said I was working away on Tuesday, so sadly I missed some of the game, but I managed to see it. It was a good win. You looked to enjoy yourself after it.
Oh, I had a cracking night. It's weird that we sit here on a Friday night and I have no plans to go out and have a drink. Right? It just seems very unusual of me to be sitting in a Friday night, but it's fine. Football Manager's out. The old Twitch account will be given a resurrection tonight, and we might stream some Football Manager on there after this. So I've got somewhat of a plan, so I'm not going to be fully left out if I have the people with me. If you are watching it in the comments, please make sure to get involved with the show as we go on. Let us know all your opinions on everything we talk about. Any questions you have, make sure to fire them in. We'll be doing a kind of Q&A session towards the end of the show as per usual. And obviously, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel out big time. It's absolutely free. It's the big red button that says subscribe, and you're getting all the content that we produce over here at TSF. Anyway, let's go on to the football and let's talk about that, shall we? Let's go and talk about that Europa League. Adam, you might be talking about the Europa League next year at this rate, the way you're going. Are you looking forward to the potential of that? Or are you keeping yourself grounded?
No, I don't think we should be setting our sights on the Europa League. It's got to be, in and amongst Europe's elite in the Champions League, no?
You imagine Hearts in the Champions League. If you were to predict, right, I'm not saying Celtic would do any better because we'd probably do worse. If you were to predict, right, Hearts to go up against, say, Bayern Munich in the Champions League, what do you think the score would be?
I think we could recreate our 1-0 win in the 80s. No, I'll say double figures, probably.
Double figures, oh Christ.
Yeah,
I think for Celtic, Cal, we'd be looking at least trying our best to not lose 7-1 or 7-0 again like those results under Rodgers.
I think we'd be looking to not be 7-0 down at half time, let's be honest.
Brilliant. I mean, Buick's in there. He's giving it big licks. He says bottom six Hearts, so he's obviously trying to keep you grounded to some extent. Let's start with Celtic then, because I think that's the easiest one to get out of the way. It was the first one this week. It was on Tuesday afternoon at the half-free kickoff. 50,000 fans still managed to make their way to Celtic Park, Callum, on that unusual time. But the story of the game is that Celtic won. They keep their Europa League hopes alive. How important a win was that for Ange Postecoglou on Tuesday, Cal?
Oh, definitely. I think, obviously, for the way we started, the group started on a high, if you could call it that. Obviously, I know it's a 4-3 defeat, but the way we started, everything was looking well, and then you get that absolute drubbing off Leverkusen, which was expected. Defending into that Leverkusen game, somewhat hopeful. I'd have been very surprised. But no, I think when the groups came out, I think we look to say, take both Ferencváros games. If you could take a home result against Betis or such, then so be it. But it's good to get points in the board in the group.
Yeah, it was important for Ange to get a win after the opening couple of defeats, especially after a heavy defeat at home to Leverkusen. Adam, you're the outsider. I don't know how much of the game you managed to see, if you've only seen highlights or whatever, but what do you make of it, given the non-biased sort of input here?
I didn't see it, given I was in a uni and whatnot.
Christ, I have free kickoff, of course.
Yeah, so from what I did see of the game, I mean, Kyogo Furuhashi won't be at Celtic for long, will he? I noticed, obviously, the transfer talk with reuniting Ange with a former striker, but I don't know if that's just, oh, come on, Ryan, he's top tier, and and his goal was gorgeous. I mean, if I was a Celtic fan, that would have been on repeat all night. The pass is sensational. First touch is absolutely exquisite, and it's a cracking finish. And obviously then, from there on in, Celtic seemed as though it was going to be dominant. Obviously then a case of getting that second goal, which they later did. So, yeah, a convincing win and a much-needed win. I think for Postecoglou in particular, the back-to-back away league victories as well as a massive bonus. Momentum seems to be gathering, and Celtic are in a decent place, which you wouldn't have said a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a big turnaround, isn't it? Because we headed into that international break just off the back of the win against Aberdeen, which I suppose was decent. But in general, that kind of period of the season, it wasn't looking bright for Celtic, Callum. But it was massive that we got this win, because it was, you know, the first European one we got. This is the first group stage European one we got this season. In terms of, Callum, in the 90 minutes of the game, I thought that it looked very good for Celtic in an aspect of game management, looking a lot more reassured. We looked defensively a little more secure. I think there was a real sort of growth in the team and how they control a game over the course of that 90 minutes. It wasn't just a kind of smash and grab, go out and then hold out towards the end. You know, we see this so many times in big games where Celtic go up and then they're taking a battering and they're being lucky to stay in the lead or whatnot. It looked like they were reassured. It looked as though Ange made the right substitutions. From start to finish, we seemed in control, Callum, and defensively, I thought there was no worries either.
No, definitely. I think the only one I'd say I've seen people say defensively wise a worry was that wee pass back from Starfelt. If that's one mistake at 90 minutes, then you can take that. I think to see us pressing teams such late on, I know we're 2-0 up, as you said. People would expect us to just sit in, you're like, right, that'll do you. But to see us pressing teams so late in the game as well, it's something different, refreshing. It's not your usual Celtic in Europe. As you say, it's 1-0 up and clinging on for dear life.
The Starfelt pass is funny because we were sitting in our seats, right? Me, Mr. Old, and my pal David. We were sitting there, and honestly, it's just me in it. So I started typing my tweet after a great Starfelt tackle, and I started typing Carol Starfelt solid, and both of them clocked me doing it, and they're like, "Don't you send it? And do not fucking send it." And I went, "Oh come on, there's 10 minutes to go. He's not going to do anything." And they're like, "Just don't send it." So I went like that. "Okay, I won't." And they looked away, and I pressed send. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm sending it." Literally 2 minutes later, he does that pass. And both of them, like, "Oh, yes, go for fuck's sake." I'm like, "No." And both of them turned to me and they went like that. "Just as well you never put out that tweet." And I was like, "Aye, I never put it out." They were like, "You didn't fucking send that, did you?" I was like, "Yep, I did." So I'm fully believing I'm the jinx. I'm the reason that we managed to do these things in games. Adam, this front three of Celtic, the last kind of thing, we will kind of wrap up the European games as quickly as possible so we can talk about the weekend. But that Celtic front three at the moment, Jota, Kyogo Furuhashi, Liel Abada. You know, Abada was quiet on Tuesday, but that front three right now has just been brilliant, hasn't it? And it's a front three that has the potential to score so many goals. And I think now that they're getting onto a little bit of form and we see Jota come through especially, it's going to cause a lot of problem for teams in the league this season.
Yeah, undoubtedly, mate. I think the only thing missing from Jota's game in the early aspects of his Celtic career were goals. And now, like you say, having been off the mark, obviously raises his morale. You know what I think of Furuhashi in regards to that he's an absolute top player. And even his absence was highlighted, wasn't it, with Celtic kind of stumbling in the early stages. So the fact that the three of them are all back, fit and firing, clicking, it's only positives for Postecoglou and for Celtic.
I like that. It's a lovely headline there, a tabloid headline for you. Positives for Postecoglou. Brilliant, son. Brilliant. We've got Buick in the chat. He's wanting firing questions very early. It's actually a really good question. And oh, look who's back in the chat as well. It's Steve Thompson, the Button fan, the infamous. He's back, Farmers League. A good question there, though, from David Buick, which we'll come on to. We'll come on to as the show goes on. I would address it just now, but let's try and get the first part of the show done, the flow of the show keep going. Let's move on to Rangers against Brøndby last night. A 2-0 win for Rangers. Also as important for Steven Gerrard to pick up his first Europa League group stage win. I didn't get to see all of the game. I tuned in for the second half with you, Callum. You were actually here in the flat as we watched the second half. Rangers looked like a side, especially that second half, that didn't really need to get out of first gear. They thought they sort of had it in the first half, I think, Callum. But once again, important for Gerrard, isn't it?
Definitely. I think he was also in the same situation as Postecoglou in terms of getting points on the board in the Europa League stage. I think I'd have been very surprised if it was anything other than the Rangers win last night. As you said, from what we've seen in the second half, it was just absolute cruise control. what I managed to make out on Twitter and such for the first half, again, it was very easy and comfortable for them.
Adam, what about you? Did you manage to see any of the Rangers game last night?
I saw bits and pieces, mate.
Bits and
but
pieces with the
again, I echo totally what Callum says there. I think in the first half, I'd obviously mentioned on the last TSF pod with David and Div that in that first half, Rangers were playing some scintillating stuff. I think they could have carved out numerous chances and probably should have been 2 or 3 up. So again, I'm not really surprised to see them carry that out in Europe against what's probably the weakest team in their group. And again, like Callum says, it was a must win, I think, for Steven Gerrard. He basically accepted that prior to the match. So that's obviously the monkey off their back now. And they'll be looking to carry that obviously into their domestic action because they've got a tricky game at the weekend, but also into their continental stuff as well.
There's Buick chipping in once more. Steven Gerrard encouraging Joe Aribo to start assaulting opposition players in his post-match. Disgrace. The man should be jailed and Sturgeon must condemn. We've got Ian Hamilton chipping in. He says, evening lads, Rangers looked more comfortable this time around. Morelos looked off a lot plus had a moaning look on his face. Does he go after this season? Is it for 30 million plus? Yes, he's worth that. I was going to come on to that next. Second half is all I got to see in the game. First of all, in that second half, there was right at the beginning of the half, Cam. Remember, Borna Barisic gives the ball away around his own box, and Brøndby really should have got himself back into the game. A horrendous miss from the Brøndby forward who takes the shot on goal. He puts it wide, and that could have been a real change in the game. But also, Morelos, I did thought looked a little bit off it last night. I didn't think he looked great. Now, we're talking here, and Ian's brought up a point saying, does he go after this season? Now, I believe he does. 30 million plus, though. Adam, I'll start with you. Do you think he's worth a £30 million price tag?
No chance. What did Edouard go for? 20?
22 million? No, 8. Was it even that much, was it? It was like £18 million, wasn't it? Kind of like it'll rise
18.
to 18 or something.
Right.
Aye, £18 million.
And
granted, the difference may be that Edouard only had a year left on his contract, but I still don't believe. Like Moussa Dembele left Celtic for a fee of £24 million, I think it was. Now, if you're
Edouard would also have been in fine better form than Morelos is currently as well. So
yeah, it's a weird one. He's no denying a great player, but I think £30 million is a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got 15 in my head. I think Rangers 15. Would settle for 15.
Half that. Callum, what are you thinking about the 30 million? Do you think that's an excessive amount of money? Ian seems pretty insistent here saying, yes, he is worth that, but would you agree?
I mean, it's going to seem a bit biased from us if we turn and say, no, he's not worth anywhere near that. But I think, see, to be fair to him, I mean, also, he's not really come off the mark this season. Obviously, Gerrard said it before the game last night. He said 5 and 15, it's not good enough. If he could try and pick up that form he had, like sort of Christmas last year, she knows around about that 30 goal mark coming up to Christmas. If you can get yourself back in that form, you could push up to 20 million mark, absolutely. But I don't think we'll see a player go for 30 million in our lifetime up here, personally.
Nah, I feel like there's... And McGinley puts it perfectly. I think Kyogo Furuhashi is the best striker in the country at the moment. Now, if Morelos is worth £30 million, then how much is Kyogo Furuhashi worth? Now, that's all opinion-based. That's not... My opinions are different from those of the show, but I do believe that Kyogo's a better player at the moment, and I mean, if that's the question, it's weird. I think Morelos will leave after this season. I do see it happening, but I just don't think 30 million is a very realistic fee. A massive shout to David Buick, who's donated 79 pence. Thank you very much. That's going out his pocket and back in the other pocket. Thank you for the donation. But it does remind me to say, if you want to get involved and have your message guaranteed on the screen, you want to help out the show, you can super chat by donating money over on the comments section. It's very simple. And if you can, it's up to you. It would be very much appreciated. A lot of people getting in their price the price evaluations on Morelos there. I think that this season he has sort of struggled a bit, and it hasn't been as good as we know he can do, but he is a terrific player, and he'll come through this season. He will score goals. That's what he gets. Just think 30 million. It's a bit much. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get to the weekend, because I know Adam's choking to talk about the Hertz. Look at you. Look at your face. You can't contain it, mate. You can't contain it.
It's such a rarity for me to be positive about my football club, Ryan. It's been a long time coming.
If I could put myself through listening to like an hour-long show just about Hearts, and I would listen to from Perth to Paisley. I would listen to the whole thing, but sadly, you know, I'm not a Hearts fan, so it would be a bit.
Okay.
It was a bit.
You're a busy man. Is what
I'm a
happens.
busy man. Yes, I would. But I can only imagine that you've been buzzing on it this season. So fair play to you, mate. Fair
Oh
play to
no,
you.
I still find stuff to moan about. Who doesn't?
It's like me on the channel. I get comments all the time like,
Never going to be
how are you still
100% content, are you? So no,
nah, never. Until we win another treble over here, I'm not going to be 100% content. Let's go into the league then. Let's start off with. Let's go. Quite a big game. Let's start off at Aberdeen against Hibs. It's a good game this weekend. Aberdeen, of course, in a right pickle of a situation, and we can't not talk about that interview midweek with Dave Cormack on, was it BBC? Adam, you seem like you would have been tuned into that, or you'd have heard it. What was your making of that?
Made for fantastic listening. Just totally bizarre, and it seems as though I know that Dave Cormack's obviously trying to give the justification for his appointment. Stephen Glass was obviously his choice, but when you're a chairman and you're coming prepared with your kind of expected goals, like possession, like all these stats that don't really mean a great deal when it comes to a results-based business.
Yep.
I think he's clutching at straws, to be perfectly honest. But the main takeaway that I took from it is that they had no intention, obviously, to remove Stephen Glass from his position. They're going to persist with him for the next couple of weeks. And if that's the case with Aberdeen's fixtures coming up, they're going to have to start picking up points sooner rather than later. And this Hibs game is actually massive for them, I'd say. Probably the biggest game of the Scottish Premiership weekend for me, 100%.
Yeah, it's a big one. I think the quote that he used was something, was it like, the statistics show that we should be winning these games? Like, I think he says something like that. It's funny because he's like, the silent majority of Aberdeen fans are in agreement with me, and they're all just firing in messages like, no, we don't, shut up. We want him going. Callum, Aberdeen have lost 5 Premiership games on the bounce. McGinley's actually, I was chipped in a message saying the Dons fans want a load of our Sharks after the Sharkhead last season, but 5 losses on the bounce in that time. Of course, they've had some difficult fixtures, but 5 losses. Hibs aren't in the greatest of form either. They've lost their last 2 games to Cal. Do you have much faith in Aberdeen to win this game at Pittodrie? I know Hibs aren't great at the moment. What has to happen? This is massive. The turnaround you're asking for in this game is huge.
No, I think definitely. I think a win it's a must win for Aberdeen easily. Like, for Stephen Glass, in the sake of his future career at Aberdeen, I'm not going to say, like, that sounds if I'm putting a statement out saying he'll be sacked on Monday if he doesn't win, right? But to lose 5 in the bounce, I mean, I know Derek McInnes didn't exactly have the greatest track record at Aberdeen, but it is shambolic to see Aberdeen like this, especially after last season with them and Hibs going neck and neck with each other for who's going to finish above who. Yep. So to be like this at the start of this season, it's horrible to see for them.
You must think, they've got players in that dressing room. They brought in Scott Brown. They made a couple of good signs as well. They brought in Dec Gallagher, who has been hot and cold, I suppose, or mostly cold. But they brought in Dec Gallagher. They've brought in that Ramirez up front. They've brought through Ramsey right back. It's a talented locker room they've got there of players. And Callum, is it just about Stephen Glass sort of changing things now? It seems like, Scott Brown had an interview, I think it was earlier in the season, and maybe 2-3 games into the league campaign. Scott Brown said, the thing I like, and it sounded like a dig at something like Neil Lennon almost, but he gave us sort of interview and he said, the thing that I like about Stephen Glass is he's willing to try new things, he's willing to change things, but it doesn't seem like that at the moment. Is it now time for a fundamental change? Does he have to experiment? Does he have to do a full 180 to try and turn this ship around?
Definitely, I think whatever he's been trying up to this point, also I don't watch much of Aberdeen, so I couldn't comment. So what he's been trying up to this point, it's clearly not working. So as you've said, he does need to just try and flip it in its head, try something completely different against Hibs. Because I feel as if Hibs, they'll know, obviously Aberdeen are up against it. They've just said, no, what, let's just go for it, which also will leave them very open. I feel as if the best thing Aberdeen can do is obviously, just as they would say, fight fire with fire, just go all out as much as they can. I think you touched on there with Ramsey. I think he does look an interesting player. Obviously, he's still young and very raw, but And for me, it just looks like Nathan Patterson 2.0. I mean, they've got the same hair and face looks, everything.
A wee duplicate there. The cloning process has gone well up in Aberdeen. First it was sheep, now it's right backs. Brilliant stuff. Adam, on the other side of that, your arch nemesis, your rivals, Hibs, they need a win too. 2 losses on the bounce. Jack Ross will be looking for something here ahead of Celtic midweek. How do you assess them at the moment? Where do you think's gone wrong there?
They're in a bit of a tricky spot, Hibs, aren't they? 1 win in their last 5 in the league, I think it is. Dropping down to 5th. I really don't know what's going on. I think Christian Doidge is a massive miss for them through injury. And Callum touched on Hibs and Aberdeen going kind of toe-to-toe for that 3rd, 4th spot last season. I think it was this very fixture where Christian Doidge's goal gave Hibs a 1-0 win to ultimately seal 3rd place. So when I look at Kevin Nisbet and Martin Boyle, who are both brilliant on their day, I just feel as though Hibs haven't got that option in the final third to kind of change things up and go that little bit more direct at times. They seem to try and keep it on the deck and get the ball to those two as much as they can, where sometimes, I don't want to say you've got to lock it or knock it long, but having Doidge in there as an aerial threat to bring others into play, sometimes it just changes the entire complexion of a team in the final third. So I think he's a massive miss for them. And obviously Ryan Porteous was suspended at the weekend, and defensively, as much as Dundee United were excellent going forward, Hibs looked an absolute car crash at the back. So Porteous and Doidge, I think, are the 2 big misses for Hibs at the minute.
Yeah, Porteous, of course, off with a suspension, all the rest of it. Hibs need it. They do need a win, and I was bigging up Hibs something rotten only a matter of weeks ago. So it'd be interesting for me to come out and try and back them up in this situation. But we'll see. We'll get through it. Let's go for the predictions then, so we can move on to the next game. What is happening in this game? I'll start with you, Adam Kennedy. Aberdeen or Hibs, and give us a wee score prediction.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tense. And I think, given neither side are in the best of fettle, it will end in a 1-1 draw.
Oh, you're going for a draw, right? Okay. Callum Craig, down the bottom there, what are you going for?
I think Hibs will absolutely annihilate Aberdeen. I'm going 3-1.
Oh.
Nice, all right. Start to finish domination from Hibs then, you think?
Definitely.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to go for it's difficult. Aberdeen really need something. They really, really do. But I am also going to agree with Hibs to win the game. I'm going to go for 2-1. Not quite 3-1, but 2-1 for Hibs. Stephen Glass on at the tightest of wires, the thinnest of ice. So surely a matter of time before Dave Cormack has got to do something. I mean, I know he's out there backing his man, but it's very, very tedious times at Pittodrie. Let's go to Tannadice. Dundee United against Motherwell tomorrow afternoon. That's a game which obviously has 2 teams who have probably exceeded a lot of their expectations this season in regards to both. I know Motherwell, of course, haven't won their last couple of games either, one of them being against Celtic anyway. But Dundee United, especially Callum, Tam Courts, brilliant run of form there on 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. I know they've only scored 8 goals, but a real defensive stability has managed to shove them up to 3rd in the table right now, and they'll just want to keep that rolling tomorrow, Callum.
Definitely, I think when you look at the results this season, going to a result against Rangers, holding us to a draw, it's not as if they're, as you said, they're defensively stable, but it's not as if they're playing defensive-minded football. They do seem as if they do want to come out, play the ball, and move it about. Like, I was watching the highlights the other day for the game against Hibs, and also, Hibs missing their main centre-half, Porteous and that, but Dundee United going forward looked phenomenal, I thought. Generally looked somewhat phenomenal. I think the way Nicky Clark took his goal, that was a lovely wee bit of passing play, going round a good few of the Hibs players that just didn't know what they're looking for. Now the ball was in the back of the net.
Yeah, they kind of be picked up the last few games, Adam. It seems like, for as well as they've been playing through the entirety of the season thus far, I think over the past few games we've maybe seen Dundee United as well just grow with confidence. They've got better in what they're doing. And that's, we're getting a lot of Tam Courts love in here, by the way. We've got McGinley and Buick giving it a lot about Tam Courts. But they look like they're on a nice bit of form just now with a stride that can't be broken. I mean, that's, I think, 5 games on the bounce now without losing. It's very unusual for a side that I didn't think would be in the top half this season, but Tam Courts has just done a fantastic job.
He certainly has, and I think the main thing for me is that they hadn't really added to the squad all that much. I know that they've obviously lost Lawrence Shankland, But Charlie Mulgrew and I think Trevor Carson were their only 2 real signings of the summer. Obviously now they've got the Finnish winner, Niskanen, is it? Who I quite like the look of. And I think the thing for me, that Hibs result, I didn't realise that United's record against Hibs was as poor. I think it's their first win against Hibs in 10 attempts. So when you've got these little factors, obviously the point at Parkhead as well, the win over Rangers, I'm amazed we got the better of them at Tannadice, I've got to be honest. It just seems like it's a plethora of great goals, obviously at the weekend, fantastic results, and long may it continue. He's a manager and a squad that are continuing to defy the odds, so good on them.
I love this question here from McGinley, by the way. I still need lessons. How do you pronounce his name?
Benny Beningame.
Beningame. Is that
There's camera, mate.
Always there's a camera, mate. Don't worry, I'm still here. I'll be back on in a moment. But Beningame. I've just always I've struggled with it. I really have struggled with the pronunciation of his name.
I just call him the greatest footballer that I've ever seen.
Ah, right. Look at this. I've got a message across my face, which is brilliant. So I'll let you answer this here while I try and fix my camera. Who would win the fight between Beningame and Fuchs? I'll start with you, Adam. You're probably going to back your boy, aren't you?
No, I'm not. He's too gentle and too soft. I reckon Big Jean-Do Fuchs would have him, to be honest.
See, that's what I was thinking. What about you, Cal? Would you agree?
I think you'd have to agree, wouldn't you? As you said, Beringham been as you said, he's far too kind and gentle. It just seems like a loving
soul. Yeah.
You could offer him a scrap and just start cuddling you, I think.
Fuchs has been a brilliant player, though. To touch on him this season, he's been fantastic for Dundee United. A key kind of guy to what they've been doing this far. Let's talk about Motherwell very quickly. 2 losses on the bounce for them. Adam, Graham Alexander will be keen to turn that around, but it's going to be difficult. I don't think it's one of those games that, depending on how it goes, the conversation can change. But I think he'll know he's in for a tough game. I don't think he'll be too disheartened if they want to go there and lose narrowly or such. But it'll be a one that he's wanted to turn the fortunes around for the last couple of games.
Definitely, and I don't think there's any shame in losing to either Hearts nor Celtic. So Motherwell's season isn't going to be defined by matches against those two. Probably will be defined by clashes against United that they'll be in contention with the top 6 for. So this is an interesting one. And I think previously Motherwell were firing on all cylinders, weren't they? Watt, Van Veen, Woolery. And the fact that they've not scored in the last 2 league games is a bit of a concern. I noticed that Graham Alexander did drop Kevin Van Veen, quite rightly so, because I thought he was non-existent at Tynecastle. And Jordan Roberts then came in with Tony Watt moving centrally. So they've got some options, but they always seem to, rock with the same formation. I don't know whether a switch-up's maybe required to kind of get more chances to their attacking players. I don't know. That's obviously for Graham Alexander to decide. So something's got to change, I think, sooner rather than later, in order for Motherwell to get back to winning ways.
So on that note, predictions. I had to cough there and speak at the same time. It was quite a weird combination. Dundee United, Motherwell. I'll start with you, Callum. Down to the bottom this time. We're going reverse order. Who are you thinking? Who are you taking for this game?
I'm feeling Dundee United, but very narrowly. I don't think it'll be the same way I said the Hibs. I'll go 2-1 Dundee United.
2-1, okay. Dundee United haven't conceded a lot this season, Adam, but Callum predicts 1. What about yourself?
I've gone for exactly the same for my Who Scored preview, mate. 2-1 United. 2-1
United, nice. I am going to go for a 1-0 Dundee United win for this weekend.
Yet another 1-0.
Yet another 1-0. Look, listen, I'm a fan of the special one, so I don't mind a wee 1-0 victory.
Not after last night, you're not.
Oh well, Christ!
Good
now,
Lord.
What was that about? 6-1. 6-1. A
Carnage.
ridiculous scoreline. Embarrassing for Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho. He will be outraged at that, to say the least. The stinker of the weekend. I don't know why I didn't get this out the way earlier, but David always hates it when I hit out with stinker of the weekend. He thinks it's disrespectful. He thinks it's crass. He just is not a fan. But Ross County against Livingston could well and truly be the stinker of the weekend. Both teams fighting it out down the bottom of the table right now. Ross County yet to get a win this season. No wins, 3 draws, 6 losses. They are at home against the Livingston side, who have managed to win 2 games now. But Callum, Malky Mackay needs to win this game, you'd think.
Oh, absolutely. I feel as if he's almost, well, not almost, but close to being on the same level as Stephen Glass in terms of pressure on the job. But then, who would Ross County bring in, for example? Who else is going to come out? I'm baffled even got the job in the first place, mind you. But no, I think it's a very, very big shout if Ross County are to take it for us.
And Livingston, Adam, they managed to get a massive win last week, 3-0 against St Johnstone, the double cup winners. Did he follow on from this? Do you think this will be a tougher test? I mean, St Johnstone really were poor last week. You'd imagine that Ross County will offer a bit something more.
Surely the goals that County will concede will not be as bad as the St Johnstone goals. I mean, that second and third goal, my word.
I can't believe what they ended up on poor quality Scottish football as
well. Oh, dearie me. But I think, Livingston, I don't think had even scored an away goal prior to that game. So the Monkeys well and truly off their back with claiming 3 and then their first away win. I think it was something like 10 games without an away league win. So obviously hoping to repeat the feat and claim what would be a massive 3 points in order to give them that little bit of distance from Ross County. It's the definition of a 6-pointer for me.
Definition of a 6-pointer. Lovely stuff. I love that. I love a wee 6-pointer. They are two of the favourites to go down this season now at this point. Ross County, I mean, you just look at them. They've conceded 19 goals this season, as well as obviously winning no games. They're in a right pickle, to say the least. That's just a right pickle. I was trying to watch my French there. I didn't want to get too derogatory about it. Not derogatory, that's not the word. Didn't want to get too explicit about it. So predictions, I'll start this time. I am going to go in a Ross County win. This is the week that I think they break the juju, you could say. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Malky Mackay's Ross County, which you may be surprised with. But I do not really, for as much as they beat Celtic, David Martindale's Livingston haven't been all that impressive. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Ross County win. Adam, go to you now.
Remarkably, I'm backing my relegation favourites here. I'm going a 2-1 reverse. Ross County 1, Livingston 2. Fair
enough. Callum, will you side with one of us? You got to go down the middle?
No, I was actually going to go down the middle. I think this will be, as you said, absolute stinker of the weekend. Most boring. I'm going 1 each.
1 each. No clean sheets in here. No clean sheets. 2-1, 2-1, 1 each. Right, fair enough. And howling at that, brilliant monkey off the bag. There's not going to be any monkey, brilliant from fucking Dib Dab there. Well done, good comment. And let's move on to the final 3 games of the weekend. Hearts against Dundee. Take it away, Adam. Just give us everything you think. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to let you hit out with your preview for tomorrow's game.
What can I say? This is it's nice looking forward to a match at Tynecastle, first and foremost. But there is a small element inside of me, just the way that I am, that is silently shitting myself for Lee Griffiths and Jason Cummings. Because I just know that if there's a chance that we'll drop into the 12-yard box with either of them, or the 18-yard box, I should say, with either of them, it's curtains. I know for a fact that Dundee have been ranked for the vast majority of the season. They've obviously claimed their first league win now. Griffiths has coincidentally also bagged his first goal now. So all these stars seem to be aligning, and it's given me the fear, to be quite honest with you, Ryan. But I am quietly confident. I've got faith, given obviously 9 unbeaten, just come off the back of a last gasp equaliser at Ibrox. We have to be taking our momentum into this, surely. And fingers crossed that we could go temporarily top of the league on Saturday night.
Imagine that, me predicting Hearts in the bottom half, saying that I didn't rate them that highly at all, to be top of the league 10 games into the season. That would be quite unreal scenes, to say the least. No, not wonderful, not wonderful. Wee Griff Dog, get us a goal, wee man. I'm hoping so. Callum, I don't know if you're as bitter as the likes of Kieran Auld, but are you hoping to see Hearts lose tomorrow afternoon?
I mean, I don't really care who the scorer is. I'm sorry, Adam, but I can only hope that Dundee win. But I'm preferably no Griff scoring it. That seems a bit bad to say, but anybody else will take.
All I'm saying
I'd even take Charlie Adams scoring there, him, put it that way.
If Hearts were to lose tomorrow and Celtic were to win, we would jump over you in the league table. So I have no sympathy whatsoever in saying I hope you get fucking pumped after Dundee somehow. I mean,
Thanks,
I doubt it's going to happen, but you know, we could see it. The stars are aligning, though, as you said. If Griffiths scores tomorrow, it's just typical Lee Griffiths, isn't it? After everything that's happened, after being wrote off so many times, he'll
After no
celebrate
doubt
that.
getting dogs abuse from the first minute as well.
Oh, aye, he'll celebrate that. He'll celebrate that like it's his Champions League final goal if he was to score tomorrow against Hearts. But we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not particularly confident that Dundee will go to Tynecastle and get much, so we may as well jump to the predictions. I'm going to go for a Hearts win. I'm going to say 3-1 to the Homer and Barts. There you go. Adam.
2-0 to the snooker and darts.
Oh, nice. And finally, Callum Craig.
Do you know what? I'm going to be controversial and I'll go 2-1 Dundee.
Oh, he's
Fuck off, Callum.
I was hoping we were going to get a wee run at Idaho, but in Barts, the snooker and darts, and then you were going to say the watery farts or something. But no, just Dundee. Brilliant.
Check out Dundee there, scumbag.
We've got unusual signs from a Celtic fan looking for others to fail. I mean, it's pretty much standard in sports that you want, you know, other teams ahead of you in the table to lose games. You know, I'd quite like that. I'd like Celtic to be top of the table, but of course you can't please everybody nowadays. Anyway, last couple of games of the weekend. We started with them on the stream, so we'll end with them in the preview before we move on to the final couple. We've got a quiz. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gents. We've got a quiz. We'll get your questions and we'll quickly jump through Championship League 1 and League 2 very, very quickly as well. I know Callum's dying to go and see Halloween, so better let you away as soon as possible. And Adam, I don't know what you're up to, but I'll need to let you away as well. Let's talk Celtic St Johnstone first. Callum, a game tomorrow in which you'd expect Celtic to get the 3 points. St Johnstone have been very hot and cold this season. Stop-start, you could say. I've already done my match preview over on my channel. I would be hoping that we continue our fine form tomorrow ahead of Hibs on Wednesday. So a win is what I'm expecting from Celtic.
I think it sounds also big kid. I would like to think nothing else, but I mean, it's Celtic. We're never really that straightforward. We always manage to somehow outdo ourselves, but nah, I'd like to say I'm fairly confident a Celtic result.
Ryan McGinley's especially confident. He's going 5-0. He's not remained grounded at all. This season. He's just been out there. He's wanting to know that want everybody to know how confident he is of the team. Adam, St Johnstone, they've been so weird. I mean, they're recovering from a lot of losses, but it's win lose. Celtic Park is not the ideal place for them to go tomorrow, is it?
No, indeed it is not. 3 losses, I think, in the last 5 for Saints. Not looking good. And I think they kind of want to keep tabs on the rest of the top 6, don't they? It seems to me as though there's a wee gap that's kind of beginning to emerge. I know it's early doors, but even between sides in contention for the top 6, and the last thing that Saints will want is to be dragged into a basement battle. So like you say, far from the ideal fixture. And when you've just conceded 3 at home to Livingston, the manner of the goals, the fact that Livy hadn't even scored an away league goal till that point, it's really not looking good for Saints. And again, this is kind of a dress rehearsal of one of the Premier Sports Cup semi-finals. So they'll obviously learn lots about Celtic ahead of that one as well. So yeah, not great from a Saints perspective, and it's certainly a fixture that they could have done without.
Have you, I thought you were going to continue there. I was just blanked completely, so that's why I took a big gap. Have you been paid to give the whole name there, the Premier Sports Cup? I was just expecting the League Cup, but you gave the whole thing.
I'm just trying to get away from this whole Betfred mentality, mate. That's what
it's difficult. It's honestly difficult.
It is.
That's why I'm just going old school now. I'm going to stick to League Cup. League Cup is that.
What about the CIS?
I like the CIS, but I think we're at, you know, that's old now, isn't it? We're going to move on from that well and truly. Callum, finally on the Celtic game, you know, with such a busy schedule playing, of course, on Tuesday, Hibs on Wednesday, is this a chance for Ange Postecoglou to maybe experiment a little bit with the side? We know Juranovic and McCarthy are going to be back tomorrow, but is it maybe a chance to see the likes of Giannis Giakoumakis, maybe make a couple of subs in there to rest a couple of people ahead of Wednesday's game?
I know, I do. I think out of the two, obviously, tomorrow's game is going to be the easier of the two. I feel bad saying that, but
it always feels like there's a sense of entitlement when you say it, but it is being honest though, isn't it? Like, it's just being realistic about things.
I know, I mean, anytime we've played Hibs, even in the cup, we've had a rotten record. Mm-hmm. So obviously tip him on that. But no, I'd like to see the likes of Giacomakis, if McCarthy is enough, if he's got legs there, to get him in, then a bit of game time, Juranovic. I'd like to see a bit of rotation in the team all round tomorrow.
Okay, let's move on to predictions. If you want to hear any of my thoughts or Ryan McGinley's thoughts ahead of the game tomorrow at Celtic Park, make sure to jump over to my channel, Ryan118. You can go and watch my video. Yes, there you go. Feel free. Score predictions. I went for 3-0 on the preview, so I'll stick with 3-0 here. Kennedy, yourself.
Also gone 3-0 the Hoops.
3-0. And
Through gritted teeth, I might add.
Nice. And Callum Craig.
3-0 as well.
3-0. 3-0's all round. A lot of people in the chat giving it a wee bit closer. 3-2 from a Celtic fan there. Yeah, boy. But we've got a 3-0 in there. If McCarthy plays 3-0 St Johnstone, says Jimmy Duff, which it would be hard to disagree with, to be quite honest. The final game of the Premiership this weekend is St Mirren against Rangers on Sunday. Noon at 12 o'clock kick-off. A game finally back on the television, which is handy for us who want to talk about the games on a podcast. Is there any hope, Adam, this weekend for St Mirren to take something off of Rangers? Because I will stick to it. This is not me saying that Celtic have been incredible, but I still think that Rangers have got another gear to go up, and St Mirren are a team who have been, I think, looking a bit better as of late. 5 games on the bounce now without a loss, 3 wins in their last 3 as well. Could this be a banana peel for Rangers on Sunday?
I think you need only look at, was it last season that St Mirren knocked them out of the League Cup in this very fixture, was it not? With a 3-2 win, if my memory serves me. So, yeah, again, another cracker, given that Saints, like you say, unbeaten in 6, up against Rangers, unbeaten in 7 in the league. So, 2 sides that are in fine form. And St Mirren just seem to be riding the crest of a wave. That's their first time that they've won 3 on the spin, I think, in the league since 2008 or something like that. Yeah. So we obviously spoke on a pod a wee while ago, and Div asked us both, do we still have faith in Jimbo? We both said yes. And hey, listen, sometimes it just goes to show what happens when you persist with a manager rather than Craig Levine or whoever. So maybe Dave Cormack's right. We don't know. Stephen Glass could turn it round just like Jimbo could. But it's a tough task for the Buddies this weekend, obviously, given Rangers will want to get back to winning ways domestically, and off the back of Thursday night, I think stands them in good stead, given that they didn't take their chances against us, but seem to have no issue with that against Brøndby. Yeah,
never go against Jim Goodwin. What a darling, what a hero, and ideally, got to get something tomorrow for us. But Callum, when you're being realistic about things, you look at Rangers, you look at their record this season. Despite us saying they've maybe not shifted out of, I don't know, I think they could still go up a gear, as I've said. You still look at the record: 6 wins, 2 draws, only 1 loss. They are still a team that is red hot form this season in regards to results in the league. They're off the back of a midweek win as well, of course, against Brøndby. Do you think there's maybe too much to handle for St Mirren there? Now, no doubt that St Mirren will give it a go, but are Rangers just focusing now on keeping that top spot? Do you think they'll just maybe get the job done tomorrow?
I do. I think also, again, it would seem very biased. I would say I think they'll struggle. Not in terms of saying Rangers will play badly, but more to the fact of St Mirren, because I was talking about them. St Mirren playing very defensively. I do feel they will play for that sort of that long ball, just try and play in the counter. I mean, they tried it against Aberdeen, to be fair, to start with, didn't come off the best, and then they said, "No, what? We'll just have a go at it," and look how that worked for them. Came out 3-2 victory. So,
you never know. Sorry, Cam, I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to add there? I thought you were done.
I did, but it's just gibberish. On you go.
Go, son. Just feel free.
No,
let it rip. I feel bad now. I feel rotten. I was going to bring up the conversation. We've not really spoke about it too much on the podcast. I think we touched on it maybe in the last episode. But Callum, he spoke about it last night, his post-match press conference. Could Gerrard's mind be maybe lingering elsewhere? Do you think that the Newcastle job is something he'll be keeping one eye on? Now, he's very insistent that he's going to be focused on Rangers. He doesn't care or whatnot, and he loves it here. Do you think in the back of his mind, though, he'll be thinking that's a job I could get?
I mean, we had a manager that said that his mind was fully set in the job, didn't care for anywhere else, and look where that got us. I'm not saying, firmly, I don't believe Gerrard would be the same, but I think if you're a manager up here of what he's done, you're going to keep one eye on that job, especially if they are to come a call, and the money that you'd be able to spend in such down there, and he could go and progress his career down there as well, it'd be daft not to consider it.
Well, there you go. The Celtic fans have spoken. Adam, what about you? What do you think about it? Do you think he is being honest, 100% honest when he says what he does? I mean, he said in that press conference last night, or the post-match interviews, nah, I'm focused on Rangers. Do you think he's been completely honest with that?
Probably not. I think there's bound to be that temptation, obviously, what with, the money for days. In terms of, for Steven Gerrard's career, I think to give up the chance of winning trophies with Rangers, I know he's only won last season's Premiership, and he'll want to tick off a couple domestic cups to go along with that. The Newcastle project, if you like, I don't think people realise just how long that these type of journeys take time, because there's no European football. So as much as you're going to attract players with money, top players want to play in top competitions, whether that be the Champions League, Europa League and whatnot. So he would essentially be the fall guy, I think, for somebody to then come in and hijack his work after, or he could be seen as the main man to try and continue to win trophies at Rangers. I've got to be honest, I actually think Steven Gerrard would be a bit daft to take the Newcastle job. I don't think he realises just how good he has it at Rangers at this current minute in time, particularly if they go on and win the league, because then there's Champions League football guaranteed. Yeah,
that's it. Big, I think still, if Newcastle were to come calling and would give him the job or offer him the job, I think he would probably, I would be nudged towards saying he'll take it, just simply for the fact, they could double, triple his wages, they'll be giving him such and such to spend. But I do agree with you, Adam, the fact that he could be managing in Champions League football next season, whereas with Newcastle, there's no guarantee of that next year, there's no guarantee of that in 2 or 3 years' time. You're talking about a potential 4 or 5 year wait for Champions League football. So it's going to be interesting to see how it happens. I still think they'll go elsewhere anyway. I have a feeling they'll probably appoint someone of maybe a more experienced calibre. No disrespect to Gerrard in that respect, but a guy that's only been managing for 3 years, won one trophy in those 3 years. There's guys out there that they could go and appoint have won more trophies, have managed for much longer. I don't think
Steven off the drop as well. The Steven Gerrard's not the man to bring in for a relegation battle in the Premier League, is he?
I think there's options there. I think they're talking about, what is it, Francesca? Is that how you pronounce it? Who could come in on maybe a 1 year basis, kind of get something done, start the build, and then look on after that. So I don't know. It's got to take a while to figure out. But Gerrard will be focusing on tomorrow. I suppose tomorrow's the first thing that's on his mind, and also not tomorrow, Sunday, and getting a win against St Mirren. So let's go for our predictions then. Let's see. Adam, we'll start with you for St Mirren against Rangers. Sorry.
I'm going to say that it will finish in Paisley. St Mirren 1, Rangers 2.
I was hoping you were going to say nil. I was really hoping you were going to say nil. Callum, what are you going for?
I will go 2-0 Rangers.
2-0 Rangers. Now, last week, I was the bold one on the podcast to predict that Hearts would get something at Ibrox. I predicted to an extent correctly, but I think I said maybe 1-0 Hearts. I think I said Hearts would win the game. So I'm not going to back St Mirren this week. I'm going to say Rangers to win 2-1 because I've probably used my luck in saying that Hearts will get something. So we'll wait till maybe another point in the season to see what I'm saying there. And that wraps up the Premiership this weekend. Any final thoughts from any of the 2 years in terms of the Premiership before we move on?
Not particularly.
No, just hoping to continue on, Adam.
We'd just like to be sat top of the league. That'd be nice.
I mean,
I can't wait till we blow it.
I think the highest Celtic can get is second this weekend if we win our game. So we'll hope, we'll pray, and we'll see what happens. Let's quickly dance over. We've already been on for 50 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. We've got a lot to still talk about. Let's go very quickly over the Championship this weekend. Arbroath take on Ayr. Raith Rovers taking on Inverness Cali Thistle. Queen of the South, Greenock Morton. Kelly against Hamilton, and Partick against Dunfermline. I think Partick and Dunfermline is probably the game of the weekend down there, just because Dunfermline are still winless at the bottom of the Championship. 4 draws in their last 5. Things are getting better for Peter Grant's men. But Partick, back-to-back wins for them. They're now 4th in the table with eyes firmly set on the playoffs, you'd imagine, Adam.
Yeah, undoubtedly, mate. And watching them demolish Hamilton Accies was a sight to see. Goals aplenty from Scott Tiffany, Brian Graham. I really like the look of Zach Rudden as well. So, yeah, it just goes to show what momentum can do with obviously having taken that from League One into the Championship. Doesn't seem to face this whatsoever. And I think playoffs probably would be the minimum target for them, definitely.
Callum, Dunfermline are just in an absolute state at the moment. Things have still not been going well down there. Despite 4 draws and maybe looking a little bit better in the park, how important is it for Dunfermline to try and get something tomorrow?
Well, definitely. I feel bad for setting on that, especially if I'm going out with David later to the cinema here, not punching me. But I think definitely it is obviously a must win. But I mean, that's an old cliche, and every game's a must win. But especially at this point for them, feeling if they've got any hopes that even just keep themselves up.
Yeah, I think Buick was telling me earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week, I can't remember, saying to me that apparently Peter Grant says they can still win the league or something. I'm like, how many points? 15 points, 17 points, I think, something like that, off of the top of the table. I think that question is very well and truly out the window. Let's quickly dance over. We don't need to give scores for this. We'll just dance over who we think will win. By the way, Matthew Duff's apologising for apparently the Old Firm biased in this quiz. So, Adam, you're going to be in for fun there. Let's dance over who we think will win each game very quickly. Start with Arbroath against Ayr. I'm going to go Arbroath. Adam.
Red Lichties, 100%.
Nice. And Callum Craig?
Arbroath.
Big Dick wins again. The second game, Raith Rovers against Inverness, Cali Thistle. Callum, start with you. Good game that.
Top of the table clash.
Oh, you're going. Kelly, did you say? Who the fuck's
Go
Kelly? I said when Kelly, Raith Rovers against Inverness. You're saying Kelly.
I thought I heard you saying something with Kelly. It's good. I'm at the table. I'm looking. I'm
right.
It'll be the alphabetical order of the fixtures. I've just had a second glance over.
Right, so if you want to pick out a Raith Rovers and Inverness, who are you picking?
Inverness.
Brilliant. What a moment that is. Inverness. Right, Adam, yourself.
I'll go bold. I'll say Rovers will win that.
I was thinking about going bold as well. I think Rovers. I don't know why. I just have a slight wee bias towards Rovers, just because I like annoying David. So I'm going to go for
misery.
Rovers win. But both teams perfectly capable of winning that game. Either both sides at the top of the table. It's going to be a good one, a top of the table clash. Probably should have spoke about it more, but with the time running out, we better move. Queen of the South against Greenock Morton. Adam.
Oh, that's a honking clash.
It is a honking clash, isn't it? You've muted yourself, Adam. You've muted yourself. I don't know how you've managed it, but you've muted yourself. There he is.
Neither did I. I said a honking 0-0 draw. 0-0
draw. Callum?
1 each draw.
1 each draw. Okay, I'm going to go for a win too. I'm throwing out a controversial one here. A win for Morton. I feel like there's something in the back of my head saying Morton are going to win this weekend. Don't know
Get
why.
them on the coup. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kelly against Hamilton. Callum. There you go, mate. What are you thinking?
St Johnstone. Kelly.
Right. Okay, Adam.
Kelly all day.
And I am going to go with Kelly as well. Hamilton really don't need to get the finger at the backside after that loss to Partick Thistle. And finally, the game of all games, David Buick's Dunfermline heading to Firhill. I'm going to go for a Partick Thistle win, Adam.
Thistle 4, Pars 0.
Oh, that's bold, that's bold. And Callum?
Thistle.
Thistle win as well. Right, there you go. There's the championship wrapped up. Let's move to League One very quickly. What did you make of the Falkirk Q&A during the week? Adam, did you manage to see any of it?
Not caught any of it, mate. But there's a guy that lives down in my residence who's the Falkirk videographer. So he was kind of nudging me in the way of it. Yet to check it out, but I've obviously seen the thread, I think, on Twitter from, is it SPFL Media Watch or something like that? It's not looking good, is it?
No, it's
they look
not.
a bit of a shit show. So, I mean, when they're chucking out the stats, like, I know that this is Falkirk's 3rd season in League One, and size and stature-wise, they are too big for that league, let's be honest. But some of the stats are astounding. Like, the amount of points that they would have picked up over the equivalent of, like, their last 36 games and whatever. It's just baffling. And it's got to improve for the Bairns at some stage, but at the minute, it just does not seem like that's going to be the case.
Lovely. Right, let's move on to the games very quickly. Montrose against East Fife. I am going to go for a Montrose win. Adam.
Montrose, mate, yeah.
Montrose. Callum.
Montrose, especially
Montrose.
with dead ball.
Aye. Dead bottom of the table, you're right. Yep. Airdrie against Dumbarton. Adam.
Airdrie.
Airdrie. What are you thinking, Callum?
Airdrie as well.
Airdrie as well. I'll go for... Do you want a draw? A wee draw in there. Dumbarton are going to go to Airdrie and get something. Callum, Cove Rangers against Clyde.
Cove.
Cove, yep, I'd agree with you, Cove. Adam, you nodding in agreement as well.
Sir Paul Hartley's Cove Rangers, what a team.
Lovely. Right, Callum, let's see. Sorry, not Callum, I was going to say, I'll wait till the next game, actually. Oh, no, it's too easy. I want it because Callum, Adam knows all the nicknames. So I'll wait till week 2. I'm going to ask to see the nicknames he knows. Right, Peterhead Falkirk, I'm going to go for a... Oh, that's actually quite a tasty wee game, that. I'm going to go Peterhead. Adam.
I was tempted to take a draw, but I'll go for the blue tune.
For the blue tune, yes. Nicknames, Callum.
There we go.
Draw.
Draw. We've got a wee draw there. And finally, Queen's Park against Alloa Athletic. Barry Ferguson back up in Glasgow, Adam.
League One favourites for me, Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, Callum.
Queen's Park, comfortably.
Queen's Park. So we've got all three going Queen's Park there. Right, League 2. Let's go very quickly, right, into there, and we'll get on to the quiz section of the show. Right, Callum, Adam, I'm going to ask you for the nicknames of all the teams so you can give me, right? So Edinburgh City against... no, sorry, not Edinburgh City. Kelty Hearts against Stirling Albion. What's the nicknames?
I'm assuming Kelty are just Kelty, but Stirling Albion are the Beanos. Know that.
Beanos. Is that what they are? Aye, the Beanos.
Aye.
Nice. Right.
Just refer to them as the Albion.
Who you predicted to win it?
I want to back Stirling, but Kelty. I've got to go Kelty.
It's a top of the table clash, man. First against second. Could be anyone. Callum, what about you?
Kelty.
Kelty as well. I'm going to go for Kelty with them being the home side. Right, nicknames, Adam. Steny against Albion Rovers.
Well, you've given me one of them, Steny.
Well, that's a good job, that.
Albion Rovers. McGinley's going to be raging at me that I don't know. I don't have a clue. Would they not just be known as Albion? I don't know.
Or the Rovers, maybe. I don't know. They could be any of the two. Right, who be predicting though?
It was a big win for Steny last week. I'll go home advantage. Say the
home advantage, right? Steny win for you, Callum. What about yourself?
Draw.
Draw. I'm going to go draw as well. Stranraer and Forfar. What are the nicknames, Adam?
Stranraer's has escaped me. I think Forfar are the Loons.
The Loons.
What's Stranraer's? Oh, it's going to annoy me. I'm convinced that the colour blue is in it somewhere. That's terrible. I should know that.
We'll pass anyway. We'll pass.
Shocking.
Right. Who's winning? Who's winning?
The Loons.
The Loons. What about you, Callum?
Stranraer. Go for
Stranraer. I'm gonna go for Forfar. I'm gonna go for the Loons as well. That's what I'm gonna pick in that game. And finally, the last two games. I won't bother with the nicknames for you, Adam. We'll just get the predictions out for you. Elgin and Edinburgh. Who are you taking?
I'm going for City. Edinburgh City, I should say. I was about to say
Thank you.
Elgin
Thank
City,
you for clarifying that.
Callum.
Edinburgh.
Same as me. And Annan Athletic versus Cowden Beef.
Annan. Cowden Beef
Annan as well. Yep, it's got to be 3 Annans all round. And that's us wrapped up the Scottish football pyramid in regards to everything happening there in the rumour mill. Today we'll find out that Celtic are in for Japanese forward Daisen Maeda, 24-year-old from Yokohama F. Marinos. Gerrard obviously talking about the Newcastle job as one dominating the back pages as well. Connor Goldson still out of contract. He's hinted he wants to stay at Ibrox, but still yet to have conversations there. And everything else, just the kind of basic stuff. Not too much there to be shouting about, which brings us on to the final segment of the show. It's everybody's favourite part, and the segment that separates us from the rest. It's the TSF quiz. Now take part in the comments if you like as well. Make sure to join and see how many you can get right. A massive shout to Matthew Duff, who once again has created this quiz. He made this under very difficult circumstances today. I asked him while he was at university, and he still managed to take the time to get the quiz made. An absolute trooper. I also had the pleasure of meeting Matthew for the first time midweek on Tuesday, pre-Celtic game. So make sure to join in the chat and get involved. So I'm going to ask Adam, since it's the first time I've done a show with you in ages, would you like set A or set B?
I'll go set B. I'll let Callum go first.
Oh, right. So Callum, you like your Callum hates making a titty sell on these quizzes. He honestly always talks about it. Right, Callum, are you ready? What'd you say?
I just hate doing them. I've got no bad return rate, but I just hate doing them.
Well, here we go. I would have give you it to host that, but I kind of had a sneaky look before we started. Right, which current League Two side did Tam Courts manage before Dundee United?
I do not have a fucking...
No.
I know.
Take a stab in the dark.
Yeah, fuck knows. Cowden Beef.
I thought you were going to say it there. I thought you were going to say Adam.
Was a Fife team? It's Celtic Hearts, isn't it?
Celtic Hearts is the correct answer. The only team he has managed before Dundee United, I'd be correct in saying, I think it was
that's right,
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, your first question, Adam, which I could tell Callum's going to be raging already. Rangers defeated Brøndby 2-0 in the Europa League last night, but which country are they from?
Denmark
is the correct answer. Cal, he's raging. He is absolutely raging. Right, are you ready, Callum, for your second question?
Go for it.
Hearts midfielder Benny Beningame. Is it? I can't.
Beningame.
One more time for me.
Benny Beningame.
Beningame. Right, I'm going to
lovely, beautifully done.
Try it. Here's me wanting to be a commentator. Imagine me trying to commentate over him. Christ. Right, Hearts midfielder him joined Hearts from which English club in the summer?
Oh fuck me! I don't have a clue.
It's on loan, isn't it?
No, it's permanent deal.
Oh, is it permanent? Oh,
3-year deal.
I get a league at least to try and narrow it down.
English Premier League team.
Premier League? Oh fuck me. Fuck knows.
You have 20.
Yeah,
you have 20 options.
Oh, that really narrows it down.
5% chance of getting it right.
Fuck no. Crystal Palace.
It's not. Adam, would you like to tell me what it is?
It's the Toffees, Everton.
It's Everton, that's cool.
Never I guessed them.
I tell you what, Adam would have loved set A thus far, and you would have loved set B thus far, because set B is ex-Celtic star Odsonne Edouard netted at the Emirates on Monday night, making it 3 goals in 270 minutes. But what was the final score?
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't even watch the Premier League, but it was 2-each,
that was 2-each, that's correct, yes. Callum is raging. Callum is raging right now. It could have been 2 each between you two with those questions, but right now it's 2-0 to Adam. Question number 3 goes to you, Callum. How many penalties have Rangers been awarded so far in all competitions this season?
Ooh, fuck.
Ouch.
5?
It's not 5. Not 5, Adam.
6.
It's not as many as you'd think. It's only 2 penalties they've been given this season. Yep, the penalty to Rangers graphic hasn't been of great use this season. 2 penalties, both scored by Kmart Ruth. There you go. I'm waiting for somebody. By the way, in the last round, well done to Brody and Graham, who got the correct answer in the Everton question. Right, to go up 3-0, Adam, and secure yourself as the winner already. Which animal is on the Ross County badge?
Well, they're nicknamed the Staggies, so it's a deer, isn't it?
Yes, a stag and a deer. There you go. Yeah. Stag and a deer. 3-0. You're going for a perfect score right now. Callum is once again livid.
Grannied. We're wrong for the granny.
Grannied, aye. Question 4 for you, Cal. Celtic fans displayed a banner on Tuesday using letters from Fuck UEFA in scrambled countdown form. What was the order of the letters on the banner?
So FD UK.
Yes.
UFEA.
Yes, correct. Well done. There you go. Nice question there. Has
There we go. There's your granny.
Right, Adam, question 4. According to Transfermarkt, who is the most valuable player in the Scottish Premiership outside of the Old Firm, not including loaned players, like players loaned into the league?
Oof. Something's telling me that it's Lewis Ferguson, but I don't know. I'll go with Lewis Ferguson. I don't know.
You're going Ferguson. Callum, if you were to hazard a guess, who would you have guessed?
Fuck.
What should be Martin Boyle?
I think I get in the Hibs route with Nisbet, but then it threw me off it. Fuck knows.
Benny Bringamy?
It's not him. It's not him.
Yeah, fuck knows. Go behind Liam Boyce. Good in the Hearts route.
Liam Boyce. The correct answer is Josh Doig, £3.6 million. There's your answer there. It's quite a low fee, yeah? Quite a low fee. You boys need to up your game.
That's poor.
Right, Callum, to make it 3-2, make it closer than it thought it would once be, there are 7 teams starting with the letter A in the top 4 leagues of Scotland. Can you name all 7 of them?
Aberdeen.
Correct.
Alloa.
Yes.
Airdrie.
Yes.
Annan.
Yes.
Fuck, try to go down. Arbroath.
Yes.
Many's that?
So you've got 5. You're missing 2.
Try to get through the leagues. Fuck me.
It's difficult when you get to like 5, innit? Difficult.
Nice.
I think I know the 2 he's missing, but I don't know.
I said Alloa. I have fun.
Aye, you said that, I'm sure. So run through. So,
right down who I've wrote, so I remember.
So far you've said Aberdeen.
Right.
You've said Arbroath.
Mm-hmm.
You've said Airdrie.
Mm-hmm.
You've said Alloa. And you've said Annan.
Fuck
so
me.
you need 2 more.
This is fucking horrendous. Actually,
I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown. He's passing it.
Aye, I can't get that.
I can't think of the last 2. Adam, do you know the last 2 he's missing?
Ayr United. I didn't realise that he'd said Annan. So Albion Rovers.
Albion Rovers. Maybe you said Albion and I gave away one of the answers. But there's the 7. There's the 7 right there. The 7 are Aberdeen, Arbroath, Ayr, Airdrie, Alloa, Annan, and Albion Rovers. And finally, Adam, to top it all off, can you get a 4-1 win? Scotland's women's side will play which country tonight in the Women's World Cup qualification?
Oh, God. I don't have the foggiest. It's obviously another European team, so that narrows it down.
Well done.
Thanks, mate. Hey, let's have the cheek.
I'll know because I've been getting fucking Twitter updates all day for the national team.
I'll go, because they're in my head, Spain.
No, it's not Spain. Cal, who is it?
Hungary.
Yes, it is. It's Hungary. Just think
Need to
if
pay
the shoe was on,
attention.
if you were on different sides there, that could have been very interesting, very tasty. But there you go. Just to be clear, the tiebreaker question would have been Celtic's expected goals on Tuesday, subtract Rangers' expected goals last night. So it would have been 3.76 minus 2.16. It would have been an answer of 1.6.
Oh, I'd have known that, of course. Yeah.
Yes,
No
of course.
problem.
Right, and that's it. Adam's our winner this week. Well done, Adam. Last Friday night. Well done, Adam. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
And that's us. That's us at the end of the show. 1 hour and 10 minutes in. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning into the show from start to finish. Or if you have just joined us recently, I'm going to be live on Twitch in the coming minutes, or the coming half hour anyway, to play some Football Manager. So if you want to come over and see me do that, then feel free. Callum, you're away to see Halloween. Enjoy, mate. Adam, you're in air, so unlucky. It's going to be a fun night for us all, I'd imagine. Like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Adam and Callum, and we'll see you all